here. Stand for the pledge. The pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public input for the start?
Yes. My name is David Pearl, live at 79 Main Street in Hooksett. Before I start, Mr. Mydell couldn't be here, and he asked me to ask that these two statements be put into the record regarding the minutes of the March 17th and the April 21st meeting.
Take it under advisement.
Yes, regarding the March 17th Police Commission meeting minutes and the minutes of the April 21st Police Commission meeting. I would also like to give you copies of all of the video recordings that I've made from the two hearings, the Police Commission meeting, and we also have the audio from the March 17th meeting is on there. I'm a proponent of video recording meetings because they can be watched and looked over to make sure that everything is understood. I have some unanswered questions regarding the 421 meeting, and I would just like to pose those questions here. In the meeting, about 12 minutes into the meeting, Mr. Rolette asked Captain Cecilio he asked why Captain Cecilio's statements about the reports were excluded from the minutes, and that question was never answered at the meeting.
Okay, continue.
Am I assuming we're getting no response, or? I'm just trying to set the record straight, because I watched the video and the question is talked about, but it's not answered. I'll continue if you like.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Okay. At about 18 minutes into the meeting, Mark Mydell asked Captain Cecilio, "Did you assist Officer Defina with the memo?" Captain Cecilio then answered, "Did I know I had several conversations," but then was interrupted by Commissioner Gagnon, who said, "This isn't an interrogation," etc. When Captain Cecilio continued speaking, he was speaking about what was missing. For the record, did Captain Cecilio assist Officer Defina with the memo?
We'll take it under advisement. Is that in writing?
Thanks, Mike.
Not to submit, no. These are just my notes.
I'm sure we don't have an answer for you off the top of our head. I can't speak for Captain Cecilio.
Okay. At 29 minutes into the meeting, Mrs. Ouellette asked Captain Cecilio, "I want to clarify the November meeting. How many reports did you refer to?" Although Captain Cecilio mentioned many reports, he never stated a firm number. So for the record, I would ask, how many reports did Captain Cecilio refer to at the November 08 Police Commission meeting? No answer.
Captain Cecilio's not here.
Okay. About 33 minutes into the meeting, Commissioner Roy said, "They also, referring to the 51 safe school reports, were shown to the Attorney General, who found them fairly innocuous. He said, referring to the AG, this is it for a school of over 2 years." At this point, Mrs. Ouellette asked, "Did you hear the Attorney General say that?" Mr. Roy didn't get a chance to answer. So for the record, Mr. Roy, did you hear the Attorney General say that?
No.
Thank you. About 48 minutes into the meeting, Officer Defina asked, "My question is, if you guys want to resolve this, then why did you send it to the media? They contacted me about it." Commissioner Roy spoke. At this point, Officer Defina is referring to his memo being sent out after the February meeting between the schools and the police. At this point, Commissioner Roy spoke about a press release, not the memo, and the chief spoke about the press release, but did not directly answer the question. So for the record, why was a Defina memo sent out to the media after the February meeting between the school and police?
part of the Sheriff's Department investigation.
Yeah, I'm assuming that it is, but that was a question that was asked at the previous meeting. I'm only asking for clarification.
And as part of the investigation, so will not be addressed at this point.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else for public input at this point?
I just have one question, Maura Willett, 3 Summerfair Street.
Stand up.
At the last meeting, I had requested some information from one of the police reports that I had received, and it was on the putt truck that was sent out for testing, and I was supposed to get the rest of that report, which I had never received. So I was wondering if I would be able to get that tonight. It was the documentation that was sent out to the state to be tested, and it was returned with saying that there was no drug residue.
We do have that. I wouldn't have access to it tonight. It'd be locked in the detective's area.
Okay, so if I come in tomorrow,
Yeah.
with the request.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Willett. I had a question about your minutes. I was just wondering how they're prepared. You know, after Francine transcribes the minutes, does anyone review them before they're released to the commission? Okay. So there's no, I was just wondering if there's somebody to determine what gets removed or included in those minutes. No?
Francine does her minutes, and that's what comes to the commission for their review at the next meeting.
Is there any resolution on the internal investigation relating to Officer Vino's in a memo?
Say that again?
I was wondering if there was any resolution to the internal investigation on Jay's memo.
I'm not sure which memo you're talking about, but internal investigations are personnel matters, so they would never be discussed or disclosed, no matter what the level is of it.
Well, he brought it up at the last meeting. Well, there was a 4-page memo. We got reduced down to a 1-page memo.
That would be part of the Sheriff's Department
That's correct.
investigation.
During that last meeting, Chairman Gagnon indicated that the department was paying for someone upstairs. I was wondering if you can explain that comment?
What?
Yeah, on the tape you said that you wanted to take a 10-minute break because we have paying for someone upstairs.
We had a meeting with our attorney.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. See no more. Public minutes of April 13th.
So moved.
Someone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing minutes of April 15th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing minutes, April 16th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
April 21st, public commission meeting.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Non-public, April 21st.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Town budget?
Town budget report. You have a copy of the town budget report and the police department budget report for week 43, which is 82.69% of the year. The numbers match, and as you see, the police department is 70.99% expended as of week 43. And then the rest of the town reports and the area report, if you have any questions.
You don't have any? Numbers are good to you? Good.
Fine.
Okay.
Dave,
Yes.
last question, at the, week 43 out of 52,
Okay.
and the normal expenditure would be 82.69, and we're running at 70, a little over 7%, 71, right, approximately? Do you foresee any major expenditure that will take a significant amount out of the current balance?
We still have the 2 vehicles. Paul.
Vehicles,
Yeah, we
okay.
haven't bought those yet.
Discussed last month.
And you know approximately what that number is?
You're probably, I don't know, gotta be right close.
70, 75 maybe.
How much?
70 to 75,000 total.
Okay. So-
Figure setup and all that.
Yeah, yeah. Just for those doing that, the analysis of what's needed for this building.
Yeah.
More than we're gonna scrape
That's
together.
right. Well, it looks like there may be a surplus.
Oh, there will be, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
All set? You guys all set on the budget?
Yep.
Um, Under old business, the Verizon tower repeater, we talked about that last meeting. Ospey Mountain Electronics has been working with Verizon. As you remember, there was some problems with the antenna down there, talking to the antenna up on the tower in Bow. Verizon, we got word actually late today from OME. Verizon's attorney gave permission so that the antenna can be moved from either 80 to 90 feet where it is now up to 160 on the tower down there.
That was too low.
Well, it wasn't too low, but with the trees and all that, it just wasn't talking correctly in however that worked. So Ospey felt that if we moved the antenna up higher, that would work, and they got permission from Verizon. So they'll be in the process now of moving it up and then wrapping up the last of that.
They're moving it for us, like they put it on, I believe.
Oh,
Verizon.
me, yes, yeah.
OME put it on? I thought Verizon wanted to do it.
No, only put the antenna on, correct?
Oh, me did.
Yeah,
Really?
we did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was one of the confusions at the beginning.
Yeah.
And Verizon had some personnel changes, but no, there's no question with Verizon that we have permission to be on the tower, but we install the equipment. They just look at the plans to see what's going to be installed, but our own people do the install after the techs talk, just to make sure there's no interference between the systems.
Okay.
Is there an extra charge for this?
Shouldn't be.
No.
On the transport van that was approved last month, we are working on that. I think, Marion, you have a meeting with Lieutenant McDaniels tomorrow.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon.
We're gonna make that so we can move ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just got bumped from the morning to the afternoon.
Okay.
So we have, Lieutenant's been working on that between a couple of companies. We've already been able to come down on the price in the vicinity of $4,000 or $5,000 from their initial cost. So we're still working on that. So we'll be able to get the money down even lower on that.
Good.
On the last month, I mentioned a sound system for this room to record everything. We did meet with Calmac. We got a basic quote, which I've got to finish reviewing and talk to them, and then we'll see what that comes in at and move from there.
Okay.
On the new business safety center study, Paul, I don't know, did you guys discuss this at the last meeting?
Yes.
You did, okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we had a gentleman.
Presented?
Yes.
Okay. I gave the commission a copy of it. This was then discussed at the last council meeting. Proposal for professional engineering architectural services to this building. I gave it to the commission just as an FYI, just so you know what information that the council had seen and apparently discussed. So obviously it's up to the council where they go with this. Interesting document. But
Well, it's kind of interesting because apparently there's a building very similar to this one, I guess Bedford built a building, a safety center similar to this, the same contractor and so forth.
Well, it was the original Hooksett plans that were
Right, that
disposed
came,
of.
right. So the administrator is going to be in contact with them to see if they have similar problems with the building. And if they have, what they've done to correct it and who they've used and what the cost
think-
involved.
One thing you need to remember, Paul, is this one was built on a sand pit. Theirs wasn't. And I don't think we ever removed the sand that was here and replaced it with soil that was made to build on.
Yeah.
But I think that was part of the issue at the beginning. So I don't know how much input they're going to be able to give, but
Well, one of
Anything's better than
the
nothing.
biggest problems we've had here is with rain, with moisture coming into the building, doing exactly what you're seeing here. And the ventilation issues. The study is very, very in-depth and very precise as to why we have the conditions we have. and the fix is extremely costly. Extremely costly. So the intent, obviously, from the council is to finally get a resolution on this and go forward with it. If it needs, I hate to say it, but it may not be able to be addressed for the next budget, but we have to ask for more articles to correct the issues.
One thing that I did send to Carol,
Hold on.
Well, this is not the final report. This page 28 says there's a final report coming.
There's another final, yes, there's a final report.
When do they expect that?
I don't know. I believe it's near term, but I don't know specifically when.
Did you even, you discuss this at the council?
Yeah, we did. We discussed it with the gentleman from the agency. Basically, we requested him to give us a more definitive price breakdown, rather than the general price breakdown.
But isn't
So
some of
you did discuss funding? Because, I mean,
We didn't discuss funding. We discussed the pricing. In other words, his pricing in there is extremely budgetary, and we were looking for a more definitive breakdown.
This would almost call for a bond.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, you can't,
Yeah,
I mean, this is big bucks.
big bucks, right.
and I almost don't believe some of the stuff can wait until next budget season, which is another issue.
Another issue, right. But, I mean, it's a priority for the council because we had discussed, based on the immediate needs that have to be addressed, where could we get the money? And that's why I addressed the issue, where your budget's at and where other budgets are at, so that we can look, this being the end of the year, maybe we could do something about encumbering some dollars to pursue a portion of it.
But even if you could, you're a long ways from 3.5.
Oh, that's for sure. You're going to fight the whole board.
one thing for you, Paul, I did yesterday send to Carol, I received an email from the U.S. Attorney's Office. There's a bill in Congress right now that is a bill that provides grants for renovations, modernizations, and construction of law enforcement facilities. So I sent that over to Carol so she can look at that. Maybe that somehow can fit into this somehow. So that was sent to Carol yesterday.
Well, you have to give Carol credit. She's definitely taken the issue by the proverbial bull by the horns and addressed it in the most professional manner possible.
Next issue, I don't know if the council talked about this, but...
Stepping back a minute, we need to stay up with this and get full information when it becomes available on what they're going to do, because this could affect day-to-day business. Where are we supposed to move to? The library?
Yeah, I think Town Hall sent this to us last time, so if you could just ask if Town Hall could, as you get latest versions, and just send it to us, and I'll make sure it gets...
I mean, I know we have the mobile communication system, but there's a lot of stuff that's not mobile, including cells.
Oh, you're saying if in fact you had to move out of the facility while the work is being done?
I mean, fire department is bad enough, but they could move somewhere, especially in the summer. Those trucks won't freeze. It's a major issue for us.
Yeah, I would imagine that once we've reached that point, they'd have to sit down and do an analysis as to what sections of the building could be cleared while a section is addressed and another section, then you'd have to set up a...
If they could do it that way.
If they could do it that way.
Well, yeah, that's why we need to stay up on this, because this could be major problems.
Oh, yeah, no question.
But Paul, are you people thinking of assigning this to like a committee and asking for like knowledgeable volunteers, lay people that are construction oriented?
We haven't reached that point. We've just got the initial study. We're asking for more detail on the pricing and take it from there, because it all boils down to dollars.
Yeah.
And where are we going to get the dollars? And in order to get the dollars, we may have to, obviously, we have to wait for the next cycle and float a bond and see if the voters will support it. That type of thing. That's the normal course. In the interim, we're back to the Band-Aid mode, which has proven to be a failure.
Because we did that on Town Hall, and Mike remembers because he was on that committee, and Don Duper, and there was a bunch of them when we were talking about Town Hall renovations and the the elevator or for the handicap and whatever.
And we shall keep you posted.
Thank you.
The next item was the administrator's been looking at the administrative code, to update the administrative code for the town. So I met with Carol the other day and went over the issues that relate to the police department, police commissions referred to in the administrative code. So she has that information, and we'll be working as part of the update of that. The town, the Hooks Police Department received a grant which we did not put in for. Actually, the county received a grant. It's titled the 2009 Recovery Act Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. My understanding is that a number of communities, 5 in Merrimack County, including ours, received this. It was based on the fact that our uniform crime reports that we do, that we are very diligent in doing them and getting them in. It turned into the feds. So, again, we did not put in for this, but basically, apparently, it's a reward, I guess, if you will, for doing that. Ultimately, what's going to happen with this grant is the city of Concord is going to be the fiscal agent. We've already talked to our finances, talked to Concord. Hooksett is eligible for $27,197 out of a total grant of almost $250,000 that came to the county for the UCR reports. We have 2 years to use the money. At this point, we had to give the federal government an idea of what we may or may not use the money for. Right now, what we're looking at, we haven't made any final decisions, but what we're looking at is to use the majority of the money in next year's budget if needed for overtime, depending on what happens with, growth of the town and other issues. So right now there is no hard plan to using that money, but that's what we anticipate. So that would help with the fact that the budget the way it is for the new year. So again, Concord will be they'll be the fiscal agent for this, and we'll work with them on this.
There's a little bit of a clause in there. It says, in order to administer the grant as fiscal agent, the city of Concord proposes a 5% administrative fee on eligible individual applicants.
Yeah.
So they'll get 5% of 12,000, 13, and 27,000.
Yeah, they're going to get, I think it's 1,360. That's what it is.
Yeah. Little penny there.
Well, they're going to do all the work, though. Finance people are going to do all the work.
You think 5% is generous?
I think 0 would be better.
Well, you could call Concord and tell them, but I'm not sure that they will.
The economy won't change.
And that they want to do it for 0 for us.
Concord's picking up 183,000 out of 249.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Let's see. And the last item I had for public tonight was the fact that we all know Memorial Day is coming up. We've met with the representatives from the Legion. We have our officers scheduled to do the same parade as last year, and so that event is planned. And we have met with the Legion.
What is it, Monday?
Sunday the 24th. 24th.
Yeah,
Next Monday.
makes no sense to me why they moved it, but that's okay.
We met with the Legion, so we're all set. Everybody has a parade permit and all that.
Okay.
That's all I had for public session today.
Any more public input?
I just have 2 questions. David Pearl, 79 Main Street. Could you describe the scope of the sheriff's investigation?
No.
So we're not to be able to understand what you're investigating? Well, the reason I asked, Commissioner, is that you held up the memo and said you're going to investigate, calling for a sheriff's investigation. And I guess my question is, I've asked a couple of questions here tonight that were under that scope, and I'd just like to find out, is the investigation revolving only around that memo, or are there other issues that are included in the investigation?
The investigation was called for the accusations that there was untruthfulness in this department. And I put an end to it, and then it was the whole scope of everything going on.
So is it safe to assume that it's the entire department that's under investigation?
So it's the SRO issue.
The entire,
The SRO
SRO issue revolving from there. That's the scope of the county sheriff's.
So it's just an investigation regarding the SRO officers program?
Any allegations made from such.
Okay. The other question I have is, have any internal investigations been initiated since the last police commission meeting?
That's not
It's a personnel matter.
That's a personnel matter, so that information can't be released.
You can't tell us if, I understand that you can't share with us any of the details, but you can't tell us whether or not there are internal investigations underway?
Correct.
Thank you.
David, getting back to your first question, I would think that would be under the purview of the sheriff's department on how they want to conduct their investigations. I mean, we
We're
have
not
no,
directing them.
we have no input into that.
Well, let me just add further comment that one of the reasons that I'm asking for some clarification is that I thought that the way that it happened was rather unusual because there was no motion, there was no vote. Generally with a motion, there would be a description of what was going to take place. Usually the wording is very careful in the motion before people vote. Since there was no motion, there was nothing really on the record other than what Commissioner Gagnon said. So I thought it left it a bit vague as to what was being investigated.
I just clarified it.
Here again, I think it would be up to them to determine the parameters. I mean, I'm not familiar with internal affairs investigations.
I believe we give the sheriff's department orders.
Well, I guess my understanding that you requested an investigation regarding the memo and the SRO program now. That's what you
Well,
just
basically,
said.
the wording the chairman used that night when he said that that's what he wanted investigated, that's what was relayed to the sheriff's department. So that's where their focus, their starting point would be.
I would just add my comment that I find it very unusual that there wasn't a motion, that there wasn't a vote to initiate something as important as an investigation of the police department. I would, no, there wasn't. I also question whether you acted as a board or whether the commissioner initiated the investigation. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Laurel Willett, 3 Summerfair Street. It's my understanding that there's been a complaint filed against Chief Agrefios by the past and present police officers. I was just wondering how you're proceeding with that, if you even know. Is it something that's done at the state level? Is it something that's done by an independent company?
I'm not going to comment on it other than to say you seem to think it's by past and present. I find it unsigned request.
Well, it was posted on Hooks and Issues, that's where
Well, Hooks and Issues publishes a lot of things that isn't true. So they publish something that's unsigned, except anonymous. We do not accept anything anonymous in this department. Someone wants to make accusations, they should sign it. Then maybe something can be done. Until then, it's anonymous. Anybody can put that in. And I guess the website decides that anything is okay to print.
Same rule applies to many other departments. Anything that comes in anonymous is not
Don't you have something in the police department where if I want to commend an officer or complain about an officer, isn't it out here actually that you can do that anonymously?
We don't deal with complaints anonymously, even on officers. Never have. It's not fair. Someone has the right to face their accuser and know who's accusing them. You can't just put something in anonymously. That would, if the town did it, if we did it, any department did it, you'd be doing it constantly.
I was under the impression it was right in that pamphlet.
Well, you're correct to the extent if it was, depending on what it was. If somebody, if it was extremely serious, say somebody was reporting that they were claiming an officer raped them and they didn't want to give out their name, that would be something that would probably go to an outside agency anyway. But it'd be under a very, very, very narrow. The issue you're talking about here now, I've seen a copy of it. I'm going to get my own legal advice on this. Same stuff as 4 years ago when I was cleared 4 years ago. So,
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none?
More would come if there was an open bar.
All right,
bring your trailer, bring your trailer.
okay.
Yeah.
Motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A, semicolon 3, Roman numeral 2.
Second.
All in favor?
About the way I thought it was. A waste of my time.